How's everyone doing? I hope you guys are having a great night, and we got a lot to go over today, so we're going to get into a lot of topics. We're going to talk about, obviously, Cipher and Bitfury. Bitfury is going to be selling a bunch of shares in them. We got to discuss that. We'll also take a look at Hut 8's response from the press release today that they provided, and then we'll also take a look at Bitfarms growing in Paraguay, which is nice to see. We'll talk about that, what that actually means for them, and then we'll take a look at CORZ Scientific and try to figure out how many shares are actually outstanding right now or floating around on the markets. We'll see what their actual market cap possibly could be. Okay, but as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research as well. And I'm invested in following coins and companies for full disclosure. And then, as you always know, if you like this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. But we'll take a look at Bitcoin here and what's going on there really quick right now. Obviously, Bitcoin looks like it's up a little bit here. I'm looking at the 1 hour. I want to be on the daily. So on the daily, it's actually down, but it was up the last 2 days. It was up a little bit here on the day-to-day. It was up 0.5%. The miners, for the most part, were actually up in the morning, and then they started coming back down towards the afternoon. I think Bitcoin was coming back down a little bit. That's possibly why. But overall, we're at 40,000 right now. It seems like we may still want to come back down and touch the 38, but we got pretty close to it the day before. So we may be going back up, but that's obviously going to be our resistance now at 45,000, and we'll see how long it takes us to get there or if we're going to continue to go down. All right, we'll have to monitor it a little bit. Now, as far as the miners are concerned, we had a pretty mixed day here on the miners. For the most part, looks like they were down here. Any was down 3.7%. Argo was up 3.3. Digital was down 1.59. Bitdeer was down was up 1.46%. Bitfarms was flat on the day. Cipher down 16.6%. That's based on the news that came out for Cipher, or not Cipher, but Bitfury selling more shares, right? That was one of my concerns with Cipher this whole time. Cleanspark was down 1.41%. CORZ was at $3.44. They're back on the NASDAQ, which is now under the the ticker symbol CORZ. So we don't have any data here as far as how much they're up, but if we look at them on the daily, you can see that they hit a high of $6.10 and a low of $3.28, and they ended up at $3.44. So not the greatest debut here for CORZ. Obviously took out quite a bit of their market cap here along with it. Digihost was flat. DMG was just up 2.42. Hive was down 0.6%. Hut was up 3.32. Iris down 3.61. Marathon was down 2.86. Mawson down 3.21. Riot down 2.9. And Stronghold down 0.4. And then Wolf was just up barely here. So kind of a mixed day on the miners here, as we talked about earlier. But that's about it for these. Let's take a look at the stories that we do have, and then we'll get into the Q&A as always. And the first one we're going to talk about here is Bitfury. So Bitfury Group announces planned distribution of shares in Cipher Mining Incorporated to diversify shareholder base of Cipher and unlock potential value. So I think they kind of know that, with as many shares as they have out there, people were a little hesitant to get into them because we've already seen Cipher sell a couple of months back, like 10 million shares, and what that did to the stock, it kept the stock down. And here's what we have on them. If we look here in the press release, so this is Bitfury saying is pleased to announce a planned distribution of shares in Cipher Mining aimed at unlocking potential value both to Bitfury's underlying shareholders and other shareholders of Cipher. Right. So let's see here. This move will reduce ownership concentration and create a more diversified and normalized shareholder base for Cipher, and that would be obviously great. But in the meantime, there's going to be some pain going into this because they have a lot of shares that they have to offload. They're going to do this possibly in like two groupings here. So we'll get into that, but this carefully planned initiative, which has been approved by Bitfury shareholders, involves the distribution of 16.1 million shares, roughly, of Cipher to Bitfury Series C shareholders within 7 business days. So that's going to go back into the market. I believe that it's going to be selling. Following this initial step, Bitfury is exploring the opportunity to distribute approximately 126 million shares of Cipher to Bitfury's remaining shareholders as a second step. That's a lot. Right, that's a lot of sell pressure there in the coming, possibly 12 months, 24 months, depending on when they decide to do it. If it's 12 months, you're basically looking at roughly, what is that going to be? If you're looking at 12 months, that's 126. So that's 12 million shares roughly, or 10 million shares per month that they're going to be putting out there, selling pressure on it. Or if they do it over 2 years, it might be 5 million shares per month. But still, that's still a lot. And that's obviously going to keep the stock down, I think. If the second step is consummated, Bitfury would retain approximately 15 million shares of Cipher, reducing its stake from approximately 75% to less than 20% of Cipher shares. And I think that would be obviously a good thing there because they just have way too much. And obviously when they sell, it puts on that sell pressure for them. The second step of the proposed distribution plan is subject to the approval of Bitfury shareholders. Additional information regarding the approval and distribution process will be provided in the near future. So we don't really know when the second phase of this is going to start. But as I've said before, this is one of those things that I do not want to get into because of it. Other than that, Cipher is doing really well as far as growth and everything else. But I think just the fear of Bitfury holding that many shares and getting rid of them is what basically has kept me out this whole time. Just there's going to be too much down pressure. But let me know what you guys think of that in the comments, and we'll obviously chat more at the Q&A section part of things. Okay, but that's it for Bitfury and Cipher here. I just didn't think it was, obviously, long run is going to be good, but in the meantime, it's going to be obviously a pain. Okay, so Hut 8 Corp response to misleading short report. I thought we were going to get a lot more data, a lot more information from this, but we kind of got the boilerplate information that we were kind of expecting here. So Hut 8 today issued the following statements regarding a report from an activist short-selling firm containing false and misleading characterizations about Hut 8's business. Hut 8 has assessed the claims set forth by the authors of the report and believes that the report is filled with inaccuracies, misrepresented data, speculative claims, and unfounded character attacks. The report appears to represent a deliberate attempt to spread misinformation about Hut 8, its operations, finances, management practices, and key executives. The statements made by the short seller exposes an inadequate, distorted understanding of the company, its operations, and its key executives. The report appears to have been made to distract from the company's achievements and progress since closing its merger of equals. The company believes that the report was designed for the sole purpose of negatively impacting Hut 8's share price for the short seller's own benefit at the expense of Hut 8's shareholders, partners, and employees. And yeah, we kind of know that that was the case, right? So it looks like based on this statement, we may not hear anything else more about it going forward. I think they're just going to probably nip it in the bud here and call it a day. Hopefully people accept this going forward. And, you know, if questions still arise later on, well, maybe they'll have to address it at that point. But right now it seems like they're pretty much calling it done and over with for them. They're going to focus obviously on their growth, things like that. So we'll see how they do on those things. As you guys have heard me say before, Hut 8 has older machines. I believe that those need to be replaced, and hopefully they get those replaced as soon as possible. I think that would be the best thing for them going forward, especially into the halving event. Okay, so that's it for that one. Next, we're going to take a look at here is Bitfarms. So Bitfarms announced today also that they purchased land, surprisingly. So here's Bitfarms purchases land in, I can't even pronounce that word, so I'm just going to call it YG, Paraguay, in support of transformative fleet upgrade and 2024 target of 21 exahash. So this is fantastic news that we have here, and we knew that they were going to need to either buy facilities or buy land or something to get to where they wanted to get to. But Bitfarms announces that it has completed the purchase of land for its new 100 megawatt production facility in YG, Paraguay. This transaction is an important step in our recently announced transformative fleet upgrade, expands our Latin America portfolio with low-cost renewable hydropower, said President and CEO of Bitfarms, Murphy. The newly acquired land is located in the heart of Paraguay, near the, another one I can't pronounce, Itaipu Dam, the third largest hydropower dam in the world with 14 gigawatts of installed capacity. That is huge. That's obviously going to help them grow potentially even further, I think, if they got that much available power there. Continuing on here, we look forward to starting construction at the YG farm and anticipate completing the facilities build out in the second half of 2024. So obviously looking like it might be still this year. So we'll see if they can get that finished, built out, constructed, and then miners installed if they purchase the miners to get to 21 exahash. That would be fantastic for this year. In conjunction with our miner redeployment strategy, the YG project will be designed to help provide sufficient infrastructure to achieve a corporate hash rate of 21 exahash by year-end 2024, should we exercise our recently announced miner purchase order option for additional Bitmain T21 miners. Okay, so I ran some numbers on this. I wanted to see what that actually would represent. And if we go over here, they have access to 100 megawatts, which is going to be like this. At 80% of load of that usually, and the 190 terahash miners, they're about 3,500 watts per unit. That gets us to about an additional 4.3 exahash that they could increase from that one facility alone. So they're supposed to get to 12. They'll get us to 16. They're going to have to obviously update, upgrade other facilities as well to get to the 21, or buy more or expand beyond this, I guess. Okay. So that's kind of interesting there to take a look at it. It's kind of nice to calculate it in the cost. If they paid $16 per terahash, roughly, you're looking at about 70 million. But if they pay $14 on that, roughly, you're looking at 61 million. So about $8 million in savings, if depending what the price tag is on those. but you're looking at 22,857 miners roughly. Okay, so that is it for Bitfarms. Like I said, this is great news, and it's great to see that they're continuing to grow going into the halving event, after the halving event, which is going to be nice. If they can get that done in 2024, that's going to be fantastic. Okay, finally, CORZ, right? As we talked about it, CORZ, if we look at it over here on this chart, I was trying to figure out what is being reported here on them for potentially share flow, but all this information looks like it's still pretty old on here. Let's see here. Market cap on here is showing as 345 million. I calculated it based on the numbers I'm going to show you guys here in a second, and hopefully you guys can verify that these are the correct numbers we should be using here. So let's do that first. So I looked into the latest SEC filings for them, and then in this latest 8K current report, they provided here that on the effective date pursuant to the plan, the company issued or will issue 184.9 million shares, right? At 184.9 million shares at the ending stock price of $3.40 some cents, that gets them to about 650 million in market cap based on this. They also issued or will issue 175 million of the warrants, and then they also have secured convertible notes, an aggregate principal amount of 260 million, and then 51 million CVRs and GUC CVRs. I don't know what the heck those things are, but it looks like that's kind of what might be out there. Let me know if in the comments in the video or now or when we discuss the Q&A if that is the case. The other thing that I thought was interesting in here, and is my understanding on this correct as well, which is down here. Third amended and restated certificate of incorporation, new common stock and preferred stock. The company is authorized to issue 10 billion shares of the new common stock and 2 billion shares of preferred stock. Am I reading that correctly? Is that going to be that, or is that before the 10-to-1 reverse split? Let me know. Okay, interested to find out. I'm not a SEC or publicly traded companies expert or anything like that on as far as the issuance of all those things go. So let me know what you guys find out. But that's kind of what I see right now, at least for them, is if they have the 184 million shares, yeah, that would get them to about 650 million market cap right now. But that's if those numbers are correct. Earlier in the day, when the numbers were showing up for the market cap on TradingView and other places, I was calculating that they were at like 90 million shares. So this might be correct, just what has been out there. Okay, but that is it for it all here. Not much else to talk about here, so why don't we get into the Q&A now? There we go. So we'll try to get this done in about 10 minutes for the Q&A. Let me take a look here on the comments, see if you guys have any questions, and then we'll get through it. So let's see here. CLSK to 100 asks, let's see, let's put that up there. How confident am I in Cleanspark? I'm very confident, I think. Getting to 16 exahash won't be a problem. Getting to 20 exahash shouldn't be a problem either later on this first half of the year. It's getting to the 32 exahash. That is obviously, we need facilities, whether they buy them, whether they build them. But if they build them, it's going to take longer. So ideally, they would want to probably do mergers and acquisitions before then, this year sometime, and then get the miners installed in there. So that's kind of where I'm looking at Cleanspark right now. Let's see here. Are you buying more Bitfarms? I have been buying more Bitfarms, I think about more last week. Close to another, what was it? I'm trying to think. There's just so many things going on. But I did buy more Bitfarms last week. I'll probably buy some more. I still think that they are undervalued from where they possibly could be getting to this year. So I am going to be buying some more. Not financial advice. You guys have to do your own thing as always. Let's see here. Gills asks, do you think miners are near the bottom yet? I don't know. Tough to tell. A couple of things to take a look at. If you look at the last halving cycle, the miners were going down in price until the halving event. Even after the halving event, like a couple of weeks into it, then finally they started going back up. Will we see the same thing? I don't know. But I'm prepared to, if they go down, I'm going to just dollar cost average in some more, hodl, until we get into later 2024, 25 sometimes, before I start selling. Let's see here. Let's take a look at this question here. Sebastian, how can we get a report from the miners regarding facilities? I keep hearing that many miners have issues with facilities being dirty. They're going to be dirty. I mean, they're sucking in air from outside air, right? You do have filters on those, but you're still going to get dust in there one way or another. It's not going to be a pristine facility. When I was managing that little small mining farm that we had, we basically had to dust those things off at least every couple of months because dust would just get into them. Even if we had filters on, I mean, you're sucking a lot of air going through there. It's going to get dusty. So there's not much you can do about it. The only thing we can do is look at some of the videos that they have provided from some of the companies that you can get access to. Others obviously aren't providing it, so not much you can do there for it. Let's see here. Do you feel 38,000 BTC is going to hold? I think it's kind of like right now the line where it's wanting to hold. We may drop down to like 35,000. I think that's possibility. We may get a wick down to that and then bounce from that. But right now we'll just have to see. Obviously the not the ARK Invest, but the other one, Grayscale. When do they stop actually selling Bitcoins? And once we get that going, I think that will kind of turn around things as well. Let's see here. Here's one. Okay, what did you think about the Cantor Fitzgerald Q&A with Cleanspark? I was quite impressed. I hope they don't equity raise. They're gonna have to equity raise. There's nothing that's there's no ways that they can't do an equity raise or shareholder dilution. They're gonna have to do it. They do have obviously some cash. They can use that, but as much as they're growing, they're gonna have to dilute a little bit. How much they dilute depends on the stock price and where things are at that point when they do it. But I'm kind of expecting it, and as they're growing, I'm okay with it. Let's see here. What else do we have here as far as questions? Question, okay. With Cipher, if this is a distribution plan to existing Bitfury shareholders, is it not OTC and not market sells? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know how that works out. I thought last time they sold 10 million, that was keeping the stock down for a while. So I thought it was just regular, not OTC. But I could be wrong. Let's see here. Question. Okay, so can you review the price targets for Cipher and how do the current sell pressure potential play into it now? Okay, so if we go into, let's see, if I don't have the spreadsheet, so we'll do that actually when they report their Q4 results. We'll go through all that and we'll get some better numbers for it, but I don't have the spreadsheet open right now. I'm not going to waste the time to do that this time around. Okay, not looking for financial advice, but had a question. Do you think it's still worth to hold Cipher? That's tough to say, right? I never got into Cipher because of the sell pressure potential from Bitfury. That was the main concern that I had there. If I knew that was going to possibly keep the stock down. We didn't know when they would sell again. We knew that the lockup period from the sell from the last time was sometime in January. And here we go. Again, in January, they're providing they're going to be selling some more. So that's why it's tough. If you're positive on it, maybe sell, maybe hold. You know, that's up to you. You have to look into the other ones that might be doing better, might be a better option, I guess. But it's just kind of, you have to look into it. What do you think? Let's see here. Okay. Do I think MicroStrat, Robinhood, or BTC ETF is a better play? It's possibly a safer play, right? The miners themselves are a leverage play on Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin goes up, they go up multiple X. If Bitcoin goes down, they go down multiple X. So it's definitely a leverage play on those. So it's definitely more riskier. But I think in the long run, if you have the patience and you dollar cost average in, like, I've been doing this for like 2 years. I've been just dollar cost averaging into miners and I have a really good position in them right now. And I'm guessing based on historical events where the miners actually went up last halving cycle and also a little bit in the prior cycle, but we didn't have a lot of miners at that time. I think they will go up because value is going to go up on Bitcoin. We're going to have obviously the halving event that's going to cut the supply. We're going to have more demand. I think things are going to work out pretty well. Let's see. Is there any indicators as to when miners will dilute their shares or just when they post that they have done so? Pretty much you have to wait until they post, either through the SEC filings, things like that. That's the only time you really find out. Other than that, you might be able to see other miners going up while a particular miner is kind of flat or even going down potentially or not going up as much. That's usually a sign that they might be diluting at that point. Okay. Let's see. What are your top 3 BTC miners? I'll go with top 5. Bitfarms, Cleanspark, Iris Energy, Marathon, and Riot. I think those are like the top 5 right now, going into the halving event and then after halving event. But those are the ones I think that will do really well going forward. And the reason for that is they're growing and they have good balance sheets. So just for consideration there. And at what, there it is. Nope, that wasn't it. This one. At what profit margin do you decide to take profits? Good question. It's going to be dependent on you guys. So if you guys are up, we were up on the miners already this year or last year, 300, 400, 500%. If you feel that's enough for you, obviously take profits on that, or at least take some trimmings off of it. There's no shame in taking profits. My goal is I'm going to wait until probably the end of 2024, 2025. We'll look at some charts on Bitcoin, where it's going. Is it getting close to a peak? And at that point, I'll probably start selling out, dollar cost averaging out of them as well. I'm not going to sell everything all at once, but I'll just kind of dollar cost average out because I don't know where the top's going to be. So that's kind of the plan there. Let's see here. No, put that one up. Okay, so what is your exit for Bitfarms, Marathon, and Cleanspark? Much, much higher from where we are right now. Minimum would be at least a 5x from where we are right now. After the halving event, probably about 12 months after the halving event, I would guess somewhere around there. But we'll see how things go, right? We're looking out way too far. Let's see here. I think that we are it. I don't see any other questions. If you guys have any other questions, other than that, we'll call it a day, I think. Will I let you guys know when you're selling? Yeah, so obviously I won't let you guys know. I'll let the Patreon members know after I sold. I usually do that on daily, and then you guys here on the videos, when I do the videos, I will say, hey, I sold X of this or Y or Z or that. I will let you guys know that I am selling as well. But obviously you guys have to do your own due diligence on this. It's not financial advice. This is just what I'm doing. And, I'm okay if I lose a bunch of money. I don't want you guys to lose money, obviously. Let's see here. Do we have any other questions? All right, I think that's it. Yeah, we're pretty much at the end of it. So 10 minutes looks like a pretty good time frame for questions here. Again, if you guys have any questions, put them down in the comments down below. Also, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday, and then we'll go from there, I guess. But yeah, we still have quite a ways to go. We have until April, until the halving event. Miners could be going down till then, so be patient. Things are still going to go up, I think, but after the halving event. Okay, we'll call it a day, guys. Thank you so much for coming in. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, bye. Not that one.